Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. About the author, Daniel Kahneman is a renowned Israeli-American psychologist and economist. He won the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences in 2002 for his pioneering work on decision-making and behavioral economics. Kahneman is best known for his collaboration with Amos Tversky, developing prospect theory and exploring cognitive biases. As a professor emeritus at Princeton University, his research has significantly influenced fields ranging from economics and psychology to public policy. Kahneman's work challenges traditional economic theories by incorporating psychological insights into human behavior, making him a pivotal figure in bridging psychology and economics. Key takeaways of Thinking Fast and Slow. Number 1. System 1 and System 2, the two modes of thinking. System 1 operates automatically and quickly, with little or no effort and no sense of voluntary control. System 2 allocates attention to the effortful mental activities that demand it, including complex computations. Dual process theory. Our minds operate using two distinct systems. System 1, fast, intuitive, and emotional, and System 2, slower, more deliberative and logical. System 1 continuously generates impressions, feelings, and intuitions without our conscious awareness. It's responsible for skills like driving a car on an empty road or recognizing emotions in facial expressions. Cognitive load. System 2, on the other hand, is called upon for more complex mental tasks that require focus and effort, such as solving mathematical problems or navigating unfamiliar situations. While System 2 believes itself to be in charge, it often lazily endorses the impressions and intuitions of System 1 without scrutiny. System 1 characteristics: automatic and effortless. Always on generates impressions and feelings, includes innate skills and learned associations. System 2 characteristics: effortful and deliberate. Allocates attention, makes choices and decisions. Can override System 1, but requires effort. Number 2. Cognitive ease and the illusion of understanding. A general law of least effort applies to cognitive as well as physical exertion. The law asserts that if there are several ways of achieving the same goal, people will eventually gravitate to the least demanding course of action. Cognitive ease. Our brains are wired to prefer information that is easy to process. This preference leads to a state of cognitive ease, where things feel familiar, true, good, and effortless. In contrast, cognitive strain occurs when we encounter information that is difficult to process, leading to increased vigilance and skepticism. WYSIATI principle. What you see is all there is. WYSIATI is a key feature of System 1 thinking. It refers to our tendency to make judgments based solely on the information readily available to us, often ignoring the possibility of missing or unknown information. This principle contributes to overconfidence in our judgments, neglect of ambiguity and suppression of doubt, excessive coherence in our explanations of past events, hindsight bias. The illusion of understanding arises from our mind's ability to construct coherent stories from limited information, often leading to oversimplified explanations of complex phenomena. Number 3. The anchoring effect. How initial information shapes judgment. The anchoring effect is not a curious observation about people's responses to rather artificial experiments. It is a ubiquitous feature of human judgment. Anchoring defined. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias where an initial piece of information, the anchor, disproportionately influences subsequent judgments. This effect occurs in various domains, including numerical estimates, price negotiations, decision-making in uncertain situations. Mechanisms of anchoring. Two primary mechanisms contribute to the anchoring effect. Insufficient adjustment. People start from the anchor and make adjustments, but these adjustments are typically insufficient. Priming effect. The anchor activates information compatible with it, influencing the final judgment. Examples of anchoring in everyday life: retail prices, e.g., was $100, now $70. Salary negotiations. Real estate valuations. Judicial sentencing decisions. To mitigate the anchoring effect, it's crucial to actively seek out alternative information and perspectives. and to be aware of potential anchors in decision-making processes. Number 4. Availability. Heuristic. Judging frequency by ease of recall. The availability heuristic, like other heuristics of judgment, substitutes one question for another. You wish to estimate the size of a category or the frequency of an event, but you report an impression of the ease with which instances come to mind. Availability explained. The availability heuristic is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, method, or decision. We tend to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled, often due to their vividness or recency. Biases from availability. This heuristic can lead to several biases in judgment: overestimation of unlikely events that are easily imagined or recently experienced, underestimation of common but less memorable events, skewed risk perception based on media coverage or personal experiences, factors influencing availability, recency of events, emotional impact, personal relevance, media coverage. To counteract the availability heuristic, it's important to seek out objective data and statistics, rather than relying solely on easily recalled examples or personal experiences. Number 5. Overconfidence and the illusion of validity. The confidence that individuals have in their beliefs depends mostly on the quality of the story they can tell about what they see, even if they see little. Overconfidence bias. People tend to overestimate their own abilities, knowledge, and the accuracy of their predictions. This overconfidence stems from the illusion of validity, our tendency to believe that our judgments are accurate even when evidence suggests otherwise, hindsight bias. The tendency to view past events as more predictable than they actually were, consequences of overconfidence. This bias can lead to poor decision-making in various domains, e.g., investments, business strategies. Underestimation of risks, failure to adequately prepare for potential negative outcomes. Strategies to mitigate overconfidence. Seek out disconfirming evidence. Consider alternative explanations. Use statistical thinking and base rates. Encourage diverse perspectives in decision-making processes. Recognizing the limits of our knowledge and the uncertainty inherent in many situations can lead to more realistic assessments and better decision-making. Number 6. Intuition versus formulas. When to trust. Expert judgment. The research suggests a surprising conclusion. To maximize predictive accuracy, final decisions should be left to formulas, especially in low-validity environments. Limitations of intuition. While expert intuition can be valuable in certain contexts, research shows that simple statistical formulas often outperform expert judgment, especially in complex or uncertain environments, situations with multiple variables to consider, predictions of future outcomes, conditions for valid intuitions. Expert intuition is most likely to be reliable when the environment is sufficiently regular to be predictable. There is opportunity for prolonged practice and feedback. Examples where formulas outperform intuition: medical diagnoses, employee performance prediction, financial forecasting, college admissions decisions. To improve decision-making, organizations should consider using statistical models and algorithms when possible, while leveraging human expertise for tasks that require contextual understanding, creativity, or ethical considerations. Number 7. Loss aversion and the endowment effect. The loss aversion ratio has been estimated in several experiments and is usually in the range of 1.5 to 2.5. Loss aversion defined. Loss aversion is the tendency for people to feel the pain of losing something more intensely than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. This psychological principle has far-reaching implications in various domains: economics and finance, marketing and consumer behavior. Decision-making under uncertainty, the endowment effect. Closely related to loss aversion, the endowment effect is our tendency to overvalue things simply because we own them. This leads to reluctance to trade or sell owned items, higher asking prices for sellers compared to buyers' willingness to pay. Factors influencing loss aversion and the endowment effect. Emotional attachment, sense of ownership, reference points and expectations. Understanding these biases can help individuals and organizations make more rational decisions, especially in negotiations, investments, and product pricing strategies. Number 8. Framing: how presentation affects decision-making. The statement of a problem guides the selection of the relevant precedent, and the precedent in turn frames the problem and thereby biases the solution. Framing effects: the way information is presented, framed, can significantly influence decision-making, even when the underlying facts remain the same. This effect demonstrates that our preferences are not as stable as we might think, and are often constructed in the moment based on context. Types of framing. Common framing effects include gain versus loss framing, e.g., 90% survival rate versus 10% mortality rate. Positive versus negative framing, e.g., 95% fat-free versus 5% fat. Temporal framing, e.g., short-term versus long-term consequences. Implications of framing: marketing and advertising strategies, public policy communication, medical decision-making, financial choices. To make more rational decisions, it's important to reframe problems in multiple ways. Consider alternative perspectives and focus on the underlying facts rather than the presentation. Number 9. The fourfold pattern of risk attitudes. The fourfold pattern of preferences is considered one of the core achievements of prospect theory. Prospect theory. This theory, developed by Kahneman and Tversky, describes how people make decisions under risk and uncertainty. It challenges the traditional economic model of rational decision-making by incorporating psychological factors. The fourfold pattern. This pattern describes 4 distinct risk attitudes based on the probability of outcomes and whether they involve gains or losses. High probability gains. Risk aversion, e.g., preferring a sure $900 over a 90% chance of $1,000. Low probability gains. Risk-seeking, e.g., buying lottery tickets. High probability losses. Risk-seeking, e.g., gambling to avoid a sure loss. Low probability losses. Risk aversion, e.g., buying insurance. Factors influencing risk attitudes: probability weighting, overweighting small probabilities. Loss aversion, diminishing sensitivity to gains and losses. Understanding this pattern can help predict and explain seemingly irrational behavior in various contexts, from financial decision-making to public policy. Number 10. Mental accounting and emotional decision-making. Mental accounts are a form of narrow framing. They keep things under control and manageable by a finite mind. Mental accounting. This cognitive phenomenon describes how individuals and households implicitly use mental accounting systems to organize, evaluate, and keep track of financial activities. Key aspects include categorization of expenses and income, different treatment of money based on its source or intended use, tendency to ignore opportunity costs. Emotional factors. Mental accounting is heavily influenced by emotions and can lead to seemingly irrational behavior. Reluctance to sell investments at a loss, disposition effect. Overspending on credit cards while maintaining savings accounts. Treating found money differently from earned income. Implications of mental accounting: personal finance decisions, consumer behavior, investment strategies, marketing and pricing tactics. By recognizing the influence of mental accounting and emotional factors in decision-making, individuals can strive for more rational and holistic financial management, considering the fungibility of money and focusing on overall wealth rather than arbitrary mental categories.